going home.
Right. Our good buddy Jeff Hunt's here, the director of the Texas Military Forces Museum over at Camp Mabry. And I got to say, I don't like this suit because every time you show up, you got a weapon and a World War II outfit on.
Yeah, this is my 21st century museum director impression.
All right, you're pulling this off pretty well.
Thank you.
And we were talking in the break because Catherine and I had mentioned this too. We saw the F-16 going in out there.
Yes, sir. Well, we have a brand new display on the parade ground at Camp Mabry. It's an F-16C.
Mm-hmm.
It was last flown by the 147th Fighter Wing, which is down at Ellington Field. They have moved over to the Predator aircraft now, and we wanted to honor the Texas Air Guard, that squadron, what they've done in the War on Terror. Yes, and it's a gorgeous aircraft. And it's up. We're having a dedication ceremony at 9 o'clock on Saturday.
There's some of the worker guys. That's a story in itself, those guys putting it together, huh?
Yeah, they trucked it in from Buda where it had been put in its new paint scheme. Yeah. And because it's been so hot, we found some shade in the back of the post. And they still work from 5 a.m. till 10 a.m. Under lights when it was dark, so that they could stand to be out there to put this aircraft back together.
It looks funny with no wings on it.
It's interesting to see how these things are actually put together. Another cool thing about this aircraft is she is a combat veteran of the war in Iraq. She has actually flown in theater and dropped bombs on the enemy.
Wow.
So it's a real piece of history there.
Yeah. And it's ready to be viewed. It's in place, ready to go.
It is there. You can come out and see it.
Okay, so let's talk about the 9/11 thing.
Yeah, well, of course, this is a very historic weekend for the Texas Military Forces. Today, September 9th, is the 68th anniversary of the landing at Salerno in Italy during World War II. 36th Infantry Division Headquarters is coming back today and tomorrow from its deployment in Iraq. And we are right up against the 10th anniversary of the terrorist attacks on 9/11, which was a real watershed moment for the Texas Army and Air National Guard. We've deployed 23,000 troops overseas. 32,000 guardsmen have deployed between Iraq, Afghanistan, and at home. And a perfect occasion for us to both pause and reflect on what 9/11 meant to Texas and to the country, and to honor the role that the Texas Army and Air National Guard have played in the war on terror. So the museum has put together an enormous new exhibit. We spent $100,000 on this to tell that story. And some incredible artifacts. Flight gloves worn by one of our helicopter pilots on over 160 air assault missions, patches, uniforms, weapons, equipment, body armor. We've got materials that were captured from Ba'ath Party headquarters in Baghdad by a member of the Texas National Guard who was on the Iraq Survey Group. We've got rubble from the Pentagon where it was struck on 9/11. You see a helmet and the battle-damaged window of a Humvee. That helmet belonged to Thomas Garces with the 1836 Transportation Company. His Humvee was struck by an IED in 2004, September of 2004, and he was killed in that attack. And we have his helmet and that Humvee window. He was the first Texas National Guardsman to be killed in action since World War II.
Wow.
So some very moving and powerful stories, a lot of great pictures, remarkable artifacts, and best of all, we're going to have a lot of our Iraq and Afghanistan veterans on hand. And this is our chance to tell them thank you, that we know what you've done for us, what your families have done for us, and we appreciate it, and that their history is as important as the history of World War I and World War II and the Civil War. And now it's enshrined in the museum.
And it's Texas history.
It is Texas history.
And it happens all again when?
Well, we will have the F-16 dedication at 9 o'clock on Saturday morning.
Tomorrow morning.
Tomorrow morning. And at 11 o'clock in front of the museum, we will have a big ceremony to commemorate 9/11. We'll have first responder vehicles there. Our soldiers, the Adjutant General will speak. We'll have a lot of other very prominent politicians. And when that ceremony is over at noon, we will open the exhibit to the public. We are going to have extended hours this weekend, so the museum is going to be open from 10 to 5, both Saturday and Sunday.
Perfect.
And as always, admission to our museum is free. We don't believe anyone should have to pay a nickel to find out what our troops have done for us.
And if you haven't seen this museum, believe me, it is worth your time, and bring the kids and go look at it. I've been remiss myself. I haven't been out there in a while, So I'm going to go out and see all of the new stuff, too, because even the World War II stuff is very, very cool. And you've been through a renovation since the last time I was there.
That's right. So if you haven't been to the museum in a while, it is changing constantly. Lots of new updates, and a lot of the older spaces have been renovated. And, of course, this new space is by far the cream on top of the whole museum.